see Pam Brolsma here either. Live. Go.
Well, tonight is Tuesday, April 26, 2016. Welcome to the Fairmont Area School Board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, for roll call, all members are present. You have the minutes of the previous meeting before you. If you've had an opportunity to look over those, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion by Rufus, a second by Dan. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the school board minutes from April 12, 2016 meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the amended agenda before us, which is the green agenda. Are there any changes that need to be noted?
There was no Southern Plains meeting
Okay,
to report on.
so in
We'll
the...
meet again, we'll meet now again in May.
Okay, so that would be under
Committee reports.
committee reports. We will not have the Southern Plains meeting. Any other changes? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move with that correction.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Julie, a second by Rufus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now to the fun part of our meeting. We have with us our 25-year employees. And it's quite an accomplishment to reach that 25-year mark with the fluidity that people have in careers, occupations, and moving. And we're very, very grateful for those wonderful employees who stick with us for 25 years. And we're going to have Superintendent Brown speak a little bit about each of the employees that we're honoring tonight.
I bet the time went like Zoom. Right? 25 years?
And Pam Brolsma, you're first, so come on up. Come on up. I'm going to read some information, and then
You're not going to read all of it, are you?
and then someone's going to ask questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Ready? Okay.
Go.
Pam Brolsma. Pam's first position was the district was a sixth grade math and science teacher. She also served 2 years as a math interventionist, but most of her years have been working with first graders. Pam has served on a variety of committees, including the District Respect Committee, PBIS, QComp, and Judicious Discipline and Cardinal Expectations. She served for several years as a grade level coordinator, PLC leader, and QComp observer. She's also done a lot of good work with our Top 20 program. Pam has loved the life lessons learned by reading awesome children's stories over the years and has been fascinated by all of the new insights into how the young brain works. But mostly she has enjoyed her classroom kids, their families, and all the energy and smiles. She has never found it to be a boring job. Pam has been married to Greg Brolsma for 32 years, and they have 2 grown daughters. Emily is a senior HR project consultant with C.H. Robinson in Plymouth, Minnesota, and Stephanie is currently in Boston, Massachusetts, studying to become a physician assistant. Outside of work, Pam stays busy providing care to parents and traveling to see her daughters. In past years, she has been very active, serving in many different capacities at Grace Lutheran Church. She enjoys country music concerts, reading, boating, exercising, and especially running or perhaps jogging.
Jogging.
Thank you, Pam. Superintendent Brown mentioned that you really enjoy children's literature. Do you have a favorite author or book?
Well, every book I read, I say is my favorite. The kids have caught on to that one. I love Dr. Seuss and a lot of his stories because, of course, first grade, that's huge. There's so many children's stories that I couldn't pick a favorite, but when I share my favorite book, I share Horton Hatch's An Egg, and that because it has a lot of respect themes in it, like perseverance, caring, integrity, loyalty, honesty, all those good things. And in the end, Horton kind of wins because he did the work, and Lazy Bird Maisie, who's off on vacation, doesn't get the prize at the end. So
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite stories.
That is a good book.
I could give you a reason for about any children's book why it's a favorite, though. So, yeah.
Now, you've been teaching for 25 years. That's why you're
In
here
Fairmont.
tonight. In Fairmont. What changes are most remarkable to you that you've seen over those years?
Wow. Well, Xerox machines, do you know what that is? I do. No, well, I used to say no blue ink, overhead project. I mean, a lot of the technology has obviously changed a lot. Lots of good advancements there. Yeah, a lot, 30, I've actually been teaching 35 years. So, I mean, a lot has changed in my own person, everything. And then I think families are a lot busier and active than maybe they were when I was, both parents usually are working. And so they're very involved, but it's just it's different with the families. Kids are always kids, they're just got their little hearts and they're lots of energy, and they always seem to never lose their energy. And then those of us teaching as long as I have seem to get a little more tired by the end of the day. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory or fun experience?
Wow. How do you pick? I would say that just every year is special. I put some quotes of Dr. Seuss, and I really say that to parents at the beginning of the year. It will be like in a blink of an eye, and it will seem like we just started, and then before you know it, our time together is all gone. That is a quote from Dr. Seuss. You think it's Carol Burnett's, but it's actually Dr. Seuss. And that, I think, is just how quickly the year goes, and all of a sudden you have to say goodbye. And then we get attached, and it's hard always to say goodbye, but they're with you forever. So
Thank you.
I don't know. There's lots of good memories, so I don't know.
Well, I know Brendan always recognizes you and smiles and waves at you when he sees
Yeah,
you in the hallway,
yeah.
even though it's been a whole year. And I'm impressed that you didn't
Yeah.
quit after last year.
Well, I have a lot of children, because I taught down in Ceylon for 6 years, and I taught 4 years prior, but I have a lot of my Ceylon kids. I think it was last year, Michelle Morris. I was just loaded with either the moms, the dads, or their uncles or aunts or whatever, to the point that one of my children moved away to Mankato, and she went into a classroom, and they asked her who her teacher was, and she told them Mrs. Bralsma, and she goes, well, that was my first grade teacher, Kayla Boglesang. And so the little girl goes, my gosh, she really has taught everyone. So I've taught a lot of people. So you do the math. In 35 years, you've taught a lot of kids. So anyways, I love it. So
Well, thank you. It's very obvious that you love what you do, and we appreciate you sharing that love with the students.
Thank you. I appreciate you too and all you do. So thank you.
This is a gift from the district.
And I have an intuition what it is.
Is it ticking?
I hope it's not a, yes.
We'll take a group picture, I think, afterwards, so.
Okay. Do I have to wait to open it? I mean, it's technically probably nice to wait till everybody
You
gets
can wait till
there.
all four get there. Okay.
It's like Christmas.
Deb DeBoer. Deb DeBoer has served the district in a variety of roles over the past 25 years, including that of test proctor, respect team coordinator, playground and lunchroom supervisor, and Title I teaching assistant. Deb enjoys working with students and sharing their excitement when a concept or in reading or math finally makes sense. She believes that building relationships with children keeps her young at heart. Deb and her husband Rick just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary. They have 2 grown sons, Justin and Travis, and 1 daughter, Emily. They've been blessed with 5 grandchildren, and a 6th one is on the way. 1 month. 1 month to go. So that's like 5 and 8 nights. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just, is that correct? That's right. Okay. Okay. Deb has, sorry. Deb has always been active in the community, serving as an American Cancer Society volunteer and working with 4-H and FFA. Her hobbies include gardening, knitting, sewing, baking, and enjoying grandchildren. And on a personal note, every time when I come into the elementary, to the district office in the morning, you're the first person I see. Yeah. So, Q&A time.
You've served in a lot of capacities, a lot of different roles. Do you have one that you found most rewarding or that's your favorite?
Oh, I think, this is gonna sound strange, because some days it frustrates me to pieces, but Title I is very fulfilling because I work with children that struggle, and when they get it, it's awesome. But I'm gonna actually say playground and lunchroom. Because out there, I get relationships with kids. I've had times when they've come to me and shared something with me, whether it be bad or good, but I was able, when it was a bad situation, I was able to get the right help for them. When they felt something in their personal lives was their fault, and I said, no, 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 you know, that kind of thing. When I can help them in their everyday life, maybe ease some pain and build relationships, that's really, really important to me. Oh.
Takes a special heart to love the lunchroom and the playground.
Well, yeah, we've gone through a few people there this year.
So thank you. Now, when people leave your, whether it's working on the playground or with Title I or test proctoring, when they leave Deb DeBoer, because you work with them throughout their whole elementary experience, what would you like them to take away?
That their education is very, very important. Nothing can replace a good education, and honesty is always the best policy. No matter what, if you're honest, it's going to be okay.
Very good. Thank you. Well, thank you. We very much appreciate you.
Thank you.
Nancy Hebert. Hi, Nancy. How are you? Well, Nancy serves as the district's lead Title I teaching assistant. She's devoted many years while at William Budd School, serving on the parent involvement team, assisting with the summer reading program, and helping with the carnival. Nancy has always enjoyed working with children and staff. Nancy and her husband Butch have 3 grown children. Stacy and family live in Armstrong. Sarah and family live in Virginia Beach, and their son Jason lives in Fairmont. It says Nancy's favorite hobby is crafts. She's amazingly good at this art and oftentimes shares her handiwork with staff. I will point out that at Christmas time, Nancy has a special thing that she does. She makes these wonderful gifts that end up on our desks, and besides being very artistic, they're full of a lot of goodies, a lot of good things to eat. So we really appreciate Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Do you have a favorite memory from your 25 years?
Yes, I was working with a little boy one time, and I always would call him back to the table, you know, to work with reading and math. And he said to me one day, "Why do you always call me back here?" And I said, "Well, because I like you and I like working with you." And he said, "You do?" And I said, "Well, yes, I do." And he goes, "Oh, okay, then I'll work with you whenever you want me." And he did. He really did. He put forth a lot of effort. So
Yeah.
that was fun. I still remember that memory.
It's really true. Kids just want to be loved,
They
don't
do.
they?
They
Yep.
really do.
And
Yeah.
when they feel loved, they'll do
Yep.
anything for you. Yeah.
And it's so warming when you come into the classroom, you know, and they're there, "Mrs. Hibbert's here today," you know, and they have to give you a hug and tell you everything. And they tell you everything some days, but it's fun. I really enjoy it.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
When students leave your presence and your teaching and helping them, what do you hope they take away?
I just hope that they take away that they know that they can always come to me and I will be there to help them. And I hope that they succeed, you know, with what I've taught them. So,
Wonderful. Thank you.
yes. Okay, thank you.
And Jane Pyman. How are you doing? Good. Over the years, Jane has spent 5 years in the business office doing accounts payable and has worked as the media technician at the middle school for 7 years and has since been serving as the media technician at the high school. Jane has enjoyed getting to know the students, their reading preferences, and making the media center a place where kids like to hang out. I like to hang out there too. Jan and her husband Bruce have 2 adult children, Jacob and Logan, and 1 18-month-old granddaughter. Jane's community involvement includes serving on the Board of Finance at the St. Paul Lutheran Church and as treasurer of the St. Paul Lutheran Fair Stand. She most loves spending time with her family, and we really do appreciate Jane Pyman's work in the high school media center. She's been a Lone Ranger there for many years, and next year we're going to provide some additional assistance for you. So,
Well, I know Jane does not like to be in the spotlight, and I promised her I wouldn't ask her any questions, and I'll keep to that. But I just want everyone to know that Jane really does focus on the students, and it's very obvious when you go into the media center that students feel comfortable. It's like almost like a family room in there, and students like to be in there, and when they have an opportunity, they will be in the media center, and we very much appreciate that. It's wonderful to have kids exposed to books and just to feel comfortable being in that area and know that they have a safe, enjoyable place to be, and we thank you very much because we know that's due in large measure to your efforts and the kindness that you show to the students. So thank you.
Brian Osley is not with us tonight, but I'm going to read a quick introduction about Brian. Brian Osley has been a math teacher in the high school since he started with Fairmont area schools. During that time, he has also served as the 9th and 10th grade site leader, department leader, and the professional learning community leader. Brian enjoys working with the Fairmont High School students, staff, administration, parents, school board members, and community volunteers. Brian and his wife Louise have 5 grown children: Andrew, Brittany, Seth, Krista, and Sarah. Brian is a member of the St. John Vianney Knights of Columbus. His hobbies include hunting, fishing, kayaking, and just enjoying the outdoors. And we'll make sure that, I see that Principal Niss is here, we'll make sure that Brian gets his gift. And so if we could have the 4 of you that are here come up here and get a group shot. Yes, there's a proclamation that Nicole's going to read in a little bit.
Do you want me to? Yeah. Thank you again, and thank you for being here tonight. We have with us this evening a proclamation that I will read in behalf of Mayor Randy J. Queering for National Teacher Day proclamation. Whereas teachers make public schools great, and whereas teachers work to open students' minds to ideas, knowledge, and dreams, and whereas teachers keep American democracy alive by laying the foundation for good citizenship, and whereas teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors, and whereas teachers continue to influence us long after our school days are only memories, and whereas Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016, will be celebrated as National Teacher Day. Now, therefore, I, Randy J. Queering, Mayor of the City of Fairmont, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim May 3rd, 2016 as National Teacher Day in the City of Fairmont, and encourage all citizens of Fairmont and the surrounding area to join me in this special observance and saluting the teachers of School District 2752 for their dedication to educating and inspiring our students. Mayor Randy J. Queering. So we'd like to thank him for that. Now moving on to Superintendent's report and calendar.
Thank you. First of all, the calendar, there really isn't much coming up in the next couple of weeks, but our next school board meeting will be on May 10th. And the Staff Development Curriculum Committee will meet on May 9th at 3:45 at the Bud Room at Fairmont Elementary. Also, in your packet, you should have a copy of the enrollment report. We're currently serving 1,697 students. And as we compare that to last year, at this time, we were serving 1,670. So we're serving 27 more students right now than we were at this time last year. So our enrollment's actually keeping really steady this year, and we appreciate that. The other thing I want to bring to the board's attention, last night at the city council meeting, they released the request for proposal for the infrastructure that will hopefully be built on the Stady property. And the process is that's going to be released, and then it will go out for a few weeks. And they're hoping that when those bids come back, that they're competitive, so that we can go ahead and process an agreement with the city of Fairmont and the school district. But they have gone ahead and they've named the subdivision already. They've named it Whitetail Ridge Subdivision. And the rationale for that is when the surveyors were out looking at the land, there were a couple of deer with white tails. And so that's why it's called Whitetail Ridge Subdivision. And the main street that's going to go into that area that will be accessible to the 24 homes is going to be called Red Bird Lane. And that's to commemorate the fact that the school district has owned the property, and they wanted to make sure that
Nice.
Cardinal is already taken apparently in town.
There is
so
a Cardinal Street.
Red Bird Lane and Whitetail Ridge Subdivision. So those are the two biggies.
Exciting.
And I just want to thank, you'll see as we progress into the evening, we have a lot of new faculty that are going to be hired this year. And I just wanted to publicly thank all of the interview teams that have spent many, many hours going through resumes and deciding on who to bring in for interviews and to actually serve on those interview teams. I want to thank the administrative team. Most of these interviews are done at night and sometimes on the weekends, so a lot of extra hours. When the dust is settled, I'm projecting at least 15 to 19 new faculty members this next year. And when the cabinet met about 8 weeks ago, we were thinking we might have 2 openings. And so there's just a lot of movement going on of people. Some people are getting married and want to live with their spouse, and some people are moving to other parts of the country, and some people are going to other districts, and we've had a number of people that have retired. But I will tell you, and I think I can speak for the entire cabinet, that the quality of the new people that are coming in, they're almost as good as the quality of the people we had last year, right, Mr. Willie? I mean, Mr. Willie's in our audience today, but no, seriously, we've been fortunate the last few years on the quality of the new faculty that we've been able to recruit to Fairmont and actually get contracted. So we're very pleased about that. I think there's some more interviews going on later on this week, and so hopefully by the next school board meeting, we'll have a full slate of teachers for next year.
Wonderful.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to financial business. Sue?
Tonight on the agenda, we have the approval of the wire transfers from April 6th to April 21st and the payment of the April 26th bills. So you should have a short list of wire transfers from that April 5th through 21st. The first 2 you see every month. So the first one is our health insurance monthly payment. The second one is our RevTrak fees from the prior month transactions. The third one there, sales tax, you only see that quarterly. So it's whenever there's anything we need to pay sales tax on, like if we would sell something, or if a staff member would actually purchase something, we'd reimburse them. That becomes a taxable sale, and we need to pay sales tax. And then the last one, you see monthly during the school year, and this is our revenue we receive from Child Care Resources for a Pathways to Early Learning Scholarship Program. Any questions? Okay, then moving to the check register, I would just have a few to bring to your attention. The first one is made out to Scholastic Book Fairs, and there's not a check number, and that's because it's paid through Commerce Bank. But this is for the spring book fair. Each year there are 2 book fairs, and this one was held late March and early April. And then out of this, we receive about $2,000 worth of free materials. And so the media centers use that, and they buy, Scholastic news magazines for students, and then for additional books in the library. Check number 58-325 made out to Courtyard Marriott. This is for the hotel rooms for our students who are at the state FFA conference right now. That was held yesterday and today. We have 13 students that attended that. The very next check made out to Craigan's. This is for the State Knowledge Bowl meet rooms, and we had 5 students, and that was held on April 13th and 14th. Check number 58-336 made out to Jaden Thomas Entertainment. This is for the DJ for prom, and prom is this Saturday, April 30th. And then check number 58346 made out to the Minnesota Department of Education. This is for the Minnesota Career Information System, or MCIS. This is a fee-based subscription available in more than 80% of Minnesota schools. The system is internet-based and offers a wealth of career, educational, labor market information. And MCIS includes learning styles and employability, interests and skills assessment, and information on colleges, program requirements for various occupations. So what happens is students will build a portfolio so they can plan and track their progress towards their educational goals. And so this MCIS is actually the junior subscription, so it's for our sixth graders. And what we did this year is Mr. Davison and Mr. Brown met with all of the sixth graders over the course of 3 separate days, and they worked with them to create their portfolios, and then those portfolios will follow them to the high school.
Thank you.
That is all I had, unless you have any questions. And Julie and I did review everything prior to the board meeting.
If there are no questions, I then would offer a motion to approve the wire transfers for April 6, 2016 to April 21st, 2016, and payment of the April 26, 2016 bills.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have a presentation about the high school handbook for 2016-17 from Tracy Lardy and Joy Okerman.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight, and really thank you for inviting me because I'm at the track meet also, and it's a lot warmer in here than it is there. So glad to be here. Thank you. This was my first year participating on the Student Handbook Committee. This committee's focus is on the rules and expectations at the Fairmont Junior Senior High School. It is important for this committee to get the viewpoint of many, and that is why we had many groups attend these 1.5 hour meetings for approximately 5 weeks. The groups that were invited were students, parents, teachers, and administration. One of the parents that attended these meetings came with me tonight, Joy Okerman. She also participates in the parent advisory meetings. She's been asked to come and share her thoughts regarding the whole handbook committee and the process. Joy.
I would just like to say that being on the handbook committee was a very good experience for me. As a parent, it really opened my eyes to why things are done in the school. And in the beginning, as we started going through each section of the handbook, I realized that I was only looking at each section just how it would affect my children. I had tunnel vision. But as we progressed, and I listened to the questions and the information and the concerns of those in the group, I realized that I needed to start looking at the school body as a whole and what was best as a whole instead of just my kids. The handbook is not just about rules and the consequences of those rules like I thought it was, but there's so much more in it. And I think that's why it's important to get the message out that we all need to read it every year. So it was a great learning experience for me, and I highly recommend that any parent out there, if they wonder, why is this in the handbook? Why is it written this way? Why did you decide to add this and not that? They should volunteer to be on this committee next year because you really do learn a lot about the policies, about laws, and just learning about what is best for the student body, not just their own personal kids. So I just want to say thank you to the school for including parents in this committee, and thank you for being willing to hear our voice in school matters.
Thank you.
Now I'm just going to take you through some of the changes that are occurring for the 2016-2017 student handbook. As we all know, it's very important to communicate to the school when your child will not be in school. You may be aware of some of the ways to how to contact us. Of course, you can make a phone call. Skyward, which we're all familiar with, there's the ability to send an email. You can send a note with your child to school. And next year, there's going to be a new way to contact us. It will be a direct email, and it's attendance@fairmont.k12.mn.us. We figured email is a friendlier way, sometimes easier way to communicate, so we've added that as a way to also communicate to us. As you are probably aware, students are allowed up to 10 total absences each semester. One change to this is that we are going to allow college visits to count up to 3 days. So if you choose to go to one college and be at one particular college for 3 days, you get 3 days, or you can visit 3 different colleges, but you get up to 3 days, and these will not be counted into the total absences. It will be coded just like a student activity. The biggest change for next year is that students will be expected to leave their backpacks or bags in their locker during the school day. This change has taken place to truly focus on the health and safety of all that attend Fairmont Junior Senior High School. In addition, we're hopeful that students will be able to use this opportunity to develop important perspectives in planning and preparation and time management. Bags will be kept in the locker, included, and are not limited to such backpacks, cinch bags, purses, duffel bags, etc. Students will need to make a plan in order to be prepared to ensure that they have the proper materials as they head to classes. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
When it comes to the email, what steps are you going to be taking to ensure that there isn't going to be any abuse of that particular way of reporting? I would suspect.
Great question, Dan.
Well, right now, you can email the school. It's just under an individual office person's
true.
name. So, for example, Lori Higgins, people might email her specifically, or someone else. So if it's streamlined to one email, then if they're gone that day, we make sure we don't miss any of those. How are you handling it? I mean, have you seen abuse with it now?
We have to watch always, Dan, to be very honest. And we have great people that work in the office that keep close eyes and communicate when needed on, hey, we need to check this out. So
there will be a lot of different people who have access to that same.
there'll be at
account.
least 2 that we're aware of at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes kids' writing is different than parents.
That's the thing.
That's true, and we get
Typing
that.
typing is the same.
No, I mean not
is
writing.
different.
I mean the verbiage.
The verbiage, yeah.
is a little different.
The one thing too is they will be marked absent, and then a dialer will go out too, so that can generate some knowledge to the parents that maybe something is going on too.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, I would like to thank everyone that dedicated time to the handbook process. We had many great conversations. I too learned a lot. It was a great opportunity. And this is all being done to create a positive, safe learning environment at the Fairmont Junior Senior High School. So I thank you for your time, and now back to my winter coat and cap. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, we have the handbook before us in Appendix B. Is there anyone who would be willing to entertain a motion or to offer a motion to approve it?
Make a motion to approve the Junior Senior High School 2016-17 Student Handbook.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Junior Senior High School 2016-17 Student Handbook. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
Yeah, discussion?
Well, at the last informal board meeting, we had a discussion about trying to draft a hearing process to be included in the handbook, and it came up last minute, and so, I think it's something that we want to keep in mind and try to develop that policy going forward, to be, addended to the handbook, or at the minimum, make sure it's incorporated next year.
In reference to just the attendance or to any other thing?
So it would be, right now, one of the discussion was around trying to strengthen the student voice, give them a sense that, that their voice matters. And situations have come to my attention where students have felt that, that a decision has been made that they view as unfair, and they have no recourse. And so, there is some verbiage in the current handbook regarding concern with a teacher, but that's somewhat limited. And so, I think the discussion was around trying to create a process where, there'd be an objective process, possibly involving, students, parents, teachers, to weigh in when there's a disagreement between a student, whether it's a grade or a suspension or a detention decision. And, and I say it's the whole purpose would be to create a positive environment so that the students feel that if they have a disagreement, that there is a process for them to air that disagreement. And so I would just like to make sure that we keep that in mind as we move forward and try to do some work on developing how that might look.
Is that something we should look at in policy committee?
Yes.
Probably?
Yeah.
And develop something and bring it forward, and we can have the input of administration and.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
support administration being involved in that.
Definitely.
Okay, we can put that on our policy
Got it?
agenda. Okay, great.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Rufus. Okay, now we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, motion carries.
Do we do A yet?
No, we didn't do A. We have a school board meeting summer schedule. And Danielle?
Yeah, the summer meeting schedule is to allow board members to start making summer plans. We're recommending that the board approve the revised school board schedule that is enclosed in your packet, Appendix A. We have operated with only one meeting in June and July for several years, and it has worked well. Should any unforeseen business arise and needs to be addressed during those 2 months, we can always call a special meeting. So in Appendix A, the proposal is for June to have our school board meeting on Tuesday, June 14th, and cancel Tuesday, June 28th, and then have the next meeting on Tuesday, July 12th, and the Tuesday, July 26th would be canceled. And then in August, we'll remain with the two regular meetings, August 9th and August 23rd. So I make a motion to approve the summer board meeting schedule.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just a comment maybe would be, as we traditionally also do in July, superintendent's evaluation. Will that be included at that July meeting, or are we looking at a separate date if we're canceling a meeting? Or, if we're looking at summer plans, we might as well discuss that and make those plans as well right now.
In the past, I think we've done the superintendent's evaluation right before that July meeting, is that right?
Before, or, what works best for the members to attend. I mean, it's more advantage is if we all can attend. I know there's been times where we've had it before and not all members have been able to attend, so maybe we should look at that as a different time versus before or after or something. But just so we're thinking about that, and like I said, just so that we're making our plans that we can have it maybe that same night in July, but then have it so that all members can also attend that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Can we have Judy send out an email and we'll
And
find
see
out
how
which
that
date and we'll set
works.
that?
Yep,
Okay,
that's
thank you.
perfect.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Moving on to personnel with resignations. Julie?
Yes, we've got a couple of resignations here. So the first one is Angela Lawrence, who has a part-time, serves right now currently as a part-time fax teacher and at the high school, and this was her first year with the district. And so I would make a motion to approve the resignation of Angela Lawrence, a part-time fax teacher effective at the end of the 2015-16 school year.
Thank you, Julie. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Rufus. We have a motion and a second to approve the resignation of Angela Lawrence. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yep. And the second one then we have here is Rebecca Fink. She serves in our district currently as a first grade teacher. She has taught in Fairmont at the elementary school since 2006. And so she has tendered her resignation as well. And so I would make a motion to approve the resignation of Rebecca Fink, first grade teacher, effective at the end of the 15-16 school year.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resignation of Rebecca Fink. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Employment, Rufus?
Okay. It's been recommended by Superintendent Brown that Eric Walker be hired as summer technology intern effective at the end of the 2015-16 school year through August of 2016. Eric is currently serving as a long-term substitute teacher in Keith Anderson's classroom and also works in our PAC as our PAC manager. I therefore offer a motion to approve the employment of Eric Walker as summer technology intern beginning at the end of 2015 school year, 2015-16 school year, and running through the end of August 2016 at a salary of $12 per hour.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll go ahead.
Thank you, Dan. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Kim Niss is recommending that the same Eric Walker be hired as a .76 FTE media technician at the high school. In this role, he'll be providing technology assistance at the high school and serving students in the media center. I offer a motion to approve the employment of Eric Walker as a .76 FTE media technician at the high school for the 2016-17 school year effective August 29, 2016 at a salary of step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I just had a question. Does that mean the other .24, is that his job as the PAC manager, or is that extra?
If you look
That's
down,
coming up.
If you look down
yeah,
on
if you look
the
down at
list.
number 5, that's the regular,
Look at your notes.
Oh,
he's going to be hired as a,
so the PAC is extra then?
he'll be over and above.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like a coach. Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Jim Davison has recommended that Lynette Sundblad be hired as an intervention specialist. Lynette will replace Heidi Schloman, who will be serving as a full-time QComp coach next year. Lynette holds an elementary education degree from MSU Mankato. She has served for several years as a Title I aide in our district. In addition, she has worked as a vision, hearing, and early childhood screener and has done substitute teaching. I offer a motion to approve the employment of Lynette Sundblad as an intervention specialist for the 2016-17 school year effective June 30th, 2016 at a salary of BA Step 3.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Danielle. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Jim Davison has also recommended that Jennifer Fries be hired as an intervention specialist. Jennifer was hired as a long-term substitute for this position for the current school year when Jody Christensen assumed the role of reading coordinator. We are now hiring Jennifer as a permanent employee to again replace Jody, who will be working next year as a full-time QComp coach. I therefore offer a motion to approve the employment of Jennifer Fries as an intervention specialist for the 2016-17 school year effective June 30th, 2016 at a salary of BA Step 2.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Kim Niss is recommending that Eric Walker be hired as a .24 FTE college in the school speech teacher. Eric does not hold a regular teaching license, but does have a master's degree in speech. We intend to apply to Minnesota Department of Education for a community expert license for Eric. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Eric Walker as a .24 FTE speech teacher for the 2016-17 school year effective June 30th, 2016 at a salary of BA Step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing as there is none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Jim Davison is recommending that Heather Klitsky be hired to teach third grade. Heather will be replacing Rebecca Fink. While Rebecca is currently teaching first grade, our plans were to transfer her to third grade in the fall. Heather holds a BS degree in elementary ed from Minnesota State University Mankato and completed her student teaching at the Rosa Parks Elementary School in Mankato. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Heather Klitsky as a third grade teacher for the 2016-17 school year, effective June 30th, 2016, at a salary of BA Step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, moving on. Kim Niss and Superintendent Brown are recommending that Terry Carlson be hired as an industrial arts construction occupations teacher to replace Keith Anderson. Terry holds a BS degree from St. Cloud State University in technology education and a master's degree from Southwest State University Marshall in education. Terry taught career and technology education for 7 years in Hayfield and for 19 years in Austin. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Terry Carlson as an industrial arts construction occupation teacher for the 2016 school year, effective June 30th, 2016, at a salary of MA Step, or at a salary of MA 18, Step 17.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Kim Niss is recommending that Josh Smith be hired as a social studies teacher to replace Ashley Kaplan, who will be serving as a full-time QCOM coach next year. Josh holds a BS degree from SDSU in history and a master's degree in history from Minnesota State University, Mankato. He completed his student teaching in LeSueur Henderson Middle High School. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Joshua Smith as a social studies teacher for the 2016-17 school year, effective June 30th, 2016, at a salary of MA Step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Danielle. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Kim Niss is recommending that Claire Theobald be hired as a social studies teacher. This hire will eliminate the need for 3 classes of full-time overloads in the social studies department and will allow for 2 classes of reading intervention within the social studies curriculum. Claire obtained a BA degree in American history from the U of M in Minneapolis and a master's degree in education from Minnesota State University Mankato. Claire worked this past year as a part-time social studies teacher in Jackson. Prior to that, she substitute taught in Fairmont and surrounding schools. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Claire Theobald as a social studies teacher for the 2016-17 school year, effective June 30th, 2016, at a salary of MA Step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Julie. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, last one. Matt Mahoney is recommending that Ashley Olson be hired as the head girls hockey coach effective for the 2016 school year. Ashley is a Fairmont graduate and played hockey for 4 years at St. Benedict College. The board just recently hired Ashley as an elementary education teacher for the coming school year. I'd like to offer a motion to approve the employment of Ashley Olson as the head girls hockey coach for the 2016-17 school year at a salary of step 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Julie?
Okay, yes.
Thank you,
Last-
Rufus.
So nice, was a nice long list. It's always nice to have those new individuals into our district, so. I have a medical leave. Ashley Kaplan has requested a medical leave effective August 29th, 2016 through December 22nd, 2016. Ashley intends to use 2 hours of leave each day and will work the remaining hours. Because Ashley will be serving as a full-time Q-Comp coach next year, a substitute teacher will not be needed during her 2-hour absences. So I'd like to make a motion to approve a medical leave for Ashley Kaplan effective for the for 2 hours each day. I guess it doesn't say which 2 hours, but for 2 hours each day beginning August 29th, 2016 to December 22nd, 2016.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Danielle. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I believe it's been specified that it's the first 2 hours of the day, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be, in the middle of the day, but, you just never know if it was, maybe it was going to even be variable, maybe with a schedule or something, so.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And moving on to board committee reports. Danielle?
Yes, CER met on April 14th. CER received 3 different donations. They received $500 from Mayo Clinic Health System for the Fairmont Summer Run. And then the Salvation Army and private donors donated books for community shelves. And then they had applied, the 3M gave a $6,000 grant. $3,000 of it is for camp invention. $2,500 for after-school enrichment for the coding program.
Computer coding.
Okay, and then $500 for high school math counts. So that's how that's divided up. We have 2 new members to our advisory council. We have 2 6th grade students, Evelyn Daneman and Michaela Fitzloff, so they'll be joining every month. And then the Family Fun Fair, we had 820 in attendance. There were 223 families, and they thought about 100 different passes, which I guess is like the exhibits. So quite a big turnout this year. The new catalog went out, 10,000 copies, were distributed variously throughout town. So lots of new things coming, puts us through the summer basically. So. And then CR, they authorized hiring a coordinator for T-ball and girls softball programs throughout the summer, so.
Wonderful. Thank you. We are very blessed in Fairmont. We have a very generous community that offers many donations and grants to our district and activities. That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
And, any other questions for Danielle regarding CER? Okay. Moving on to other business, is there any?
I had a question for Superintendent Brown. Have we received any, the filing window for the open position,
The board position?
open board position it's open now, is it not?
No, it's not open until May 17th
Okay.
through May 31st, I believe.
Okay.
And we have had 2 individuals that have stopped by and picked up information packets about what it means to serve on a school board. Much of that material is from the Minnesota School Board Association, plus Judy put together a nice description of each of the major committees that we have available that school board members could serve on. So we've had 1 male and 1 female adult in our community that have come and obtained packets of information.
But those packets are still available, and like we've said before too, is that any one of us could be approached with questions that they would have also.
That's correct, right.
I just couldn't remember if it was the end of this month or the end of May that the window was open, so
Right,
you have a couple weeks yet.
we do.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Rufus. There's been a motion and a second to adjourn this school board meeting at 5:54 PM. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Don't forget, we're going to get a